The silence of despair can feel endless, but sometimes all it takes is a single whisper of hope to break it. In a quiet village where the sun often seemed to lose its way, there lived an old woman whose spirit stood tall against the storms of life. Her silver hair shimmered like moonlight, and her face, marked by time, glowed with kindness that could calm even the most troubled hearts. Everyone in the village adored her, not just for her warmth, but for her unshakable joy. She lived alone in a small house beside a giant banyan tree, its roots deep in the earth like her faith. Her husband had passed long ago, and her children never returned, yet not once did she complain. Often, she would sit beneath the banyan's wide branches, welcoming anyone who needed comfort. People said that her smile carried a kind of magic, a silent music that soothed every worry. This was a village built on hard work. Farmers battled uncertain weather. Carpenters worked until their hands ached, and merchants struggled to make ends meet. When droughts came or illness spread, hope was often the first thing to vanish. One scorching afternoon, a young woman named Mira arrived at the old woman's door. Her eyes were red from crying, her heart heavy with fear. "I'm lost," she whispered. "My husband went to the city for work, but months have passed and no money has come. My children cry for food, and I feel a darkness growing inside me." The old woman looked at her gently, her smile soft and steady. "Come, my child," she said. "Sit with me. Tell me, what are the thoughts that trouble your heart?" Mira took a shaky breath. "I keep asking myself, what if he never finds work? What if he forgets us? What if we starve?" The old woman shook her head slowly, as though brushing away a shadow. "My dear," she said softly, "when we fill our minds with fear, our hearts become heavy. But when we choose good thoughts, light begins to find us, and sometimes life itself begins to change." "But how can I think good thoughts?" Mira asked, "when everything around me is falling apart?" The old woman smiled again, eyes twinkling like stars. "Let me tell you a story," she said. Mira nodded, listening closely as the old woman's voice flowed like the calm of twilight. "Once," she began, "by the edge of a river, there sat a man with nothing left, no family, no food, no hope. His tears mixed with the river's water. Then an old woman came by and asked, 'Why do you weep?' He said, 'Because I have nothing. How can I ever be happy?' The woman smiled. 'But look around you,' she said. 'You have the river that sings, the trees that stand beside you, the sun that warms your skin. If you only see what you lack, sorrow will be your shadow. But if you see what you still have, peace will return to your heart.' The man listened, and slowly his tears stopped. He began to see beauty where before there was only pain. From that moment, his life began to change. When the story ended, the old woman looked back at Mira. 'You see, my dear, it wasn't magic that changed that man's life. It was his own mind. When we think positively, we open the door for strength and hope to enter.' Mira sat quietly for a long time. Then, with a trembling voice, she asked, 'Can a single thought really change my destiny?' The old woman nodded. 'Yes, every morning, greet the new day with the words, "Today will be a good day." Do your work with love, care for your children with faith, and wait for your husband's return with hope instead of fear. You'll find your heart growing stronger every day.' Mira smiled faintly through her tears. 'I understand,' she whispered. 'From this day, I will try to think good thoughts.' That," said the old woman, "is the first step toward peace." Days passed, and something inside Mira began to shift. She woke each morning with purpose, whispering, "Today will be a good day." She worked hard, cared for her children, and prayed quietly for her husband's safety. Weeks later, a letter arrived. Her husband had found steady work in the city and was sending money home. Joy flooded her heart. She ran to the old woman's house with the news, her smile brighter than the sun. The old woman listened, then nodded with quiet satisfaction. "You see," she said, "when we choose positive thoughts, we invite blessings into our lives. Life storms will always come, but with hope, no storm can break you." Word of her wisdom spread through the village. People came to her seeking guidance, and to each of them she said the same thing: "Think good thoughts, and goodness will follow." Her simple words became the foundation of a community's rebirth. Moral of the story: true change begins in the mind. By choosing positive thoughts, we don't just change how we see the world, we change the world itself. Even in life's darkest seasons, a hopeful heart can make flowers bloom again.